Madam, I would like to, I would like to point out something. In between, just at least 10-15 minutes break you have to give, madam. Because today there's no break at all until 1 o'clock.
Madam, you are not audible.
You're not audible, madam.
Hello, is it okay
Yeah.
now? Yeah.
Yeah, now okay, madam.
Yeah. So we have our resource person here. He has joined Dr. Sudhanshu Joshi. Dean sir. Good morning, Dr. Joshi.
Good morning, ma'am. Thank you.
How are you?
I'm good, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. And as you are aware, we have this is the day 2 of the session. I'll be formally announcing. Dr. N.M. Mishra, sir. Sir, good morning. Sir, you are mute.
Good morning, Dr. Joshi, and welcome you. And we are welcoming you on behalf of SRM.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. So formally we would start the session. Good morning, participants. I welcome you all to the day 2 of the Atal FDP on lean thinking for sustainable business practices. So today's session, we have today's deliberation is divided into 3 sessions. The session 1 is on the pillars and principles of lean thinking. Session 2 is on lean thinking practices, and post lunch session will be on the role of lean thinking in sustainable business practices. And today's resource person, Dr. Sudhanshu Joshi, is has shared a case study which I had already shared with you. Before the start of the session, I would give a brief introduction about Dr. Sudhanshu Joshi. Dr. Sudhanshu Joshi has his PhD in supply chain management area, and he is presently serving as a faculty in the operations and supply chain area in Doon University, Dehradun, Uttarakhand, India. He is certified disciplined agile scrum master, DASM, and lean Six Sigma black belt professional. Dr. Sudhanshu Joshi has completed various industrial consulting projects in the area of operations and supply chain management for Government of Uttarakhand, Asian Development Bank, German Agency for International Cooperation, Japan International Cooperation Agency, and International Fund for Agricultural Development. His research contributions are in diversified issues of operations and supply chain management domain. Majority of his work is published in high rank Q1 category ABDC A star and A category CABS listed journals. To name a few: Journal of Cleaner Production, Journal of Environmental Management, Environmental Science and Pollution Research, etc. Dr. Sudhanshu Joshi is into the editorial board of leading technology management and operations and supply chain management journals published by Elsevier, Springer, Emerald Publishing. Dr. Sudhanshu Joshi is also guest editor with few book series, including Intelligent System Reference Library and Greening the Industry. He has edited 2 books and authored 4 books published by Emerald Publishing, UK, Springer, Netherlands, and Taylor and Francis Press, UK. He is the book series editor of Research Note series on operations and supply chain management and Research Note series on the managing risks in operations and supply chain management. Both are being published from the CRC Press, Taylor and Francis Publishing Group. Dr. Joshi is among top 35 Indian researchers P ranking in Australian Business Dean Council authored publications. He is a member with leading societies including Computer Society of India, Society of Operation Management, Production and Operations Society, and Informs. I welcome Dr. Sudhanshu Joshi for his session. I hope this session will be quite insightful. And Dr. Joshi?
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And as the participants have requested, we would like to have a break of at least 5 minutes between the session 1 and session 2. So that would be taken care of. I welcome you again, Dr. Joshi.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So, good morning, everybody. As ma'am introduced, I'm a student like most of us, and as a journey as a teacher, as a student, we over the period of time learn new things and improvise our style of teaching and research. So this topic, lean management, is very close to my heart, and the kind of research which is going on these days are more on lean kind of uh, practices. So as Dr. Swati mentioned, that the whole presentation is divided into 3 sections, and I'm trying more focusing upon the higher education perspective of lean philosophy. The reason being, we have NEP in corner. We have something we have been asked by the government or the the regulator to go for the NEP readiness, and NEP National Education Policy is it's almost a year old, and we are moving towards implementation of the same in our small and big systems. So how we can use lean for better education as a higher education enablers, facilitator, because most of us not only serve as a teacher but also involved into a lot of administrative activities. So we have a lot of roles to do. So considering all this fact in mind, and considering that I'm interacting with faculties of similar experiences, or maybe more than mine experience, so I wish to have this session to be more interactive, and whenever you feel like you have to pause my deliberation, you may stop me and we can have discussion also. Thank you so much, Dr. Swati Bhatt, Professor N.M. Mishra ji, Dr. Gopal, and everybody at SRM University. And good morning all. And so let me share my PPT with you. I made a small PPT, and we will have one case also, which is coming as a part of the post-noon session, post-lunch session. So ma'am, with your permission, I'm sharing the, so please enable me for screening the share.
Okay, just a minute. Just a minute.
Meantime, may I
Yes,
ask?
sir, you have been enabled.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. Meantime, can I ask you people, how many of you are from the engineering, domain? Faculties, those are from the engineering domain. Can you please raise your hands? The people from the engineering domain. All right, Professor Mehta, Professor Soumya, Dineshwaran, Professor Dineshwaran. All right, and from the management and commerce domain. Monica Nagarji, Yashoda Durge, Professor Yashoda Durge, Professor Balu, Professor Swati Mathur, Professor Jitendra, Ankit ji, Yakuntama ji, Shyam ji, Raj Mishra ji, a lot many, most of the faculties.
We have Dr. Joshi, we have 140 participants from management, finance, operations, and economics domain, right? Related, management related, 14 from computer science and 37 from all mixed areas.
Oh, that will be nice then.
Yeah.
So people are from most of the people are from the management.
Related to management, yes.
All right. That will be really good. So my perspective will be more on teaching side and on the research side of the lean manufacturing and lean philosophy as such. And I wish to share my experiences also, that a few of experiences that I have I also, try to, incorporate during the discussion. So um, please confirm, ma'am, if you can see the slides. Is it coming up?
Yes,
Can you
sir.
see?
Yes,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, all right, all right. So the word is talking about, a lean manufacturing in a larger sense. And the concept which was being incepted through Toyota system now becomes so generalized and, so globalized that every industry across the board, whether it is services or whether it is manufacturing hardcore, they are following the lean manufacturing philosophy. And this is something, we already learned yesterday's, Brigadier's lecture. It was really a great lecture, as I also get the glimpse of the lecture. So a few things that I do not need to repeat. But one thing is very clear that COVID-19 actually tested it was a litmus test to lean practices. And it is believed that during the COVID duration and also afterwards when the COVID has been resolved, that during the disruption time, the only thing which can survive is leanness as a philosophy and leanness as a practice. Now the systems are moving towards more digitized, as we aware that we also are imparting our classes, discussions as a researcher or maybe as a teacher also through digital platforms. We have Zoom kind of platforms like we are using right now, which are basically based on a lot of cycles. We primarily call them SDLC, software development life cycle, which is now purely based on the lean philosophy. So anything which is across the board, which is around us, is by and large is using lean system. So we'll discuss about lean. Of course, I will have a kind of discussion on that also. But if you see this collage, you can understand that a majority of firms, those are able to sustain during the COVID time and this COVID, they are the companies, those are following the lean philosophy. Lean, as we know, lean is, uh, elimination of the waste, right? And try to minimize the possible errors in the system, as we say it from the layman's language. We have technical definitions also of lean, but primarily lean can change the way the firm function or an individual can function. So lean can be deployed to an individual also, and lean can be deployed to an organization as well. So we will try to understand the lean thinking at the center and how lean thinking is actually instrumentalizing the whole system. And during the time when I was talking about NEP, which is an institutional pressure on higher education institutions, how this NEP as an institutional pressure, as a way of survivability, as a matter of survivability, how lean system can help us to obtain to that level so that we can have survivability by 2025 or maybe later on when most of the universities become public-private partnership, and the systems which are called to be government systems are going to dilute like any public sector unit. So system become more globalized, more privatized, and more competitive. So how come the lean philosophy can help the firms to sustain? As most of us, as I understand, since the program is being sponsored by under Atal Yojana by AICTE, most of the participants are from the private universities or colleges. But still, there is a huge potential into Indian higher education market. And we can understand how lean philosophy or lean thinking can help us as far as our domain is concerned. So I will speak about manufacturing. I will speak about the service industry, and within service industry, I will also try to take some examples or cases from the higher education institution in India and abroad also. Right. So let me start with this. That we have to have. So let us take a small understanding. Like a carpenter needs a vision, so that he can take the best use of the hammer he has, right? Similarly, we as a lean thinker need to understand what to do and how to do it. We should be very clear about our approaches. We should be very clear about our tools, and we should be very clear about the purpose for what we are actually doing the lean philosophy. We are using or deploying the lean practices. So this is very important actually as a lean practitioner. We should understand, we should be very clear cut, purpose statement. We should be very clear in terms of what tools we are going to use, what will be our team, how the processes are working, and how we can achieve using these resources, how we can obtain the outcome, which is the aim we have set. So this philosophy of which was basically a statement given by Jim Womack in 1980 is still valid, and which says that lean thinkers or lean philosophists or maybe the lean practitioners should be very clear about the approaches. So lean is more about the clear vision about what we are about to achieve, how we can go with this. Now, importantly, as now this FDP is almost a year old, this is something it's almost a day old actually. Yesterday you had a first lecture. So while preparing for this presentation, I was going through Scopus and I was seeing the research perspective of lean philosophy, lean thinking, and I got around 1391 articles, and this is the word cloud. That majority of articles, they are talking about a lot of things. They are talking about product development, customer satisfaction, efficiency, lean production, TQM, human values, organization and management, a lot of other perspective. So if we go with each word count, we can easily assume and understand that lean is everywhere. Lean is into higher education, lean is into production, manufacturing plants, lean is into hospital, lean is coming through the patient care, lean is through continuous improvement, lean is through value stream mapping, and what else? Everything actually counts when it comes to lean. So this is the comprehensive, understanding about lean. And as I said that we are now into a second day of the FDP. I have a small, round of discussion with you and a small, set of questions for you people. So this is an open, discussion. Anybody can interrupt and answer these questions. It is something, is a recap basically that we already had from the yesterday's lecture, and few things you are aware about, few things maybe you are not aware about. It's a kind of recap. So don't need to worry about that. I'm testing your capabilities. We all are the students. We are learning across our lives. So if you permit me, can I ask you these questions? I have made 5-6 questions into different sessions, and I call it quizzes. So the first question is the main focus on any continuous improvement project should be elimination of
Waste.
elimination of waste. Okay, right.
Waste.
Waste. Okay. Why not flexibility? Why flexibility is good or not?
Flexibility is good. Yes.
Good. It's good.
Because you can then adjust to the this variable demands.
Correct. So now let us talk about the COVID situation. When majority of companies which are into chemical manufacturing, they decided suddenly that they will come out with the, sanitization items like Asian Paints or Nerolac. I got to know that Nerolac is coming through a lot of sanitization solution. They have their hand cleaning solutions and all. So what kind of category it comes? Is it flexibility or waste reduction?
It's a flexibility because they have adjusted their production system to the change requirement.
Correct, sir. Right.
Based on the needs of the society consumers, this is the need of the hour. So might have everyone going for the new products.
Right. Yeah. So the paints are not being sold out. Then they decided that they will do little diversification because they have the resource available with them. And gradually they got to know that there will be a potential market, like you have said, and they encashed that market. So it was a result of the flexibility. So flexibility we can understand through agility in a system, right? Any doubts on this?
No, that's fine.
Right, that's fine. So through agility we can count on flexibility. And when it comes to reduction of the waste, we can achieve continuous improvement with the reduction of wastage, so that the resources will be utilized, at optimum level. And the next level of process, at the next, round of process, we have lesser wastage, and we will be able to achieve more optimized, cost reduction, and we are able to make more profits out of it.
So I have a question here. Say to this eliminate, or I should say, you cannot eliminate waste, because the process can never be perfect, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
there is always a scope for further improvement. Now, there has to be a trade-off between the elimination, to the extent you want to eliminate waste, versus the total cost involved, right? When you want to make the system lean, so you have to make certain changes, you know. So
True,
to
true.
what extent you should adjust your system to that? So there has to be some trade-off between your various factors, you know, which are involved. So
True.
I think there has to be some. I mean, you cannot totally eliminate waste.
Correct.
So it has to be optimized, in my opinion.
True, very true, very true. Very much agreed on your point. Now the systems are, they are improvising themselves during the, the quest for continuous improvement. Now the companies are moving towards, 10 hours. They are moving towards circularity. So continuous improvement is actually taking systems from linear economy to circular economy. We are now intended to reuse our residuals. We are now refurbishing our, a bit defected elements and defected products. Now the firms are moving towards more circularity, and circularity is not only for the sake of sustainability or showing the eco-sensitivity by the company or greenness in the company, but also circularity is giving more cost leadership to the companies. And yes, sir, I'm very much agreed on your point that we have to see the trade-off when it comes to waste reduction. And the waste reduction should not be at the cost of, losses to the company. They should have the, provisions. They should develop some processes so that the waste can be reduced down, not exactly zero, but at least up to some optimum level. And that is the way actually the firms nowadays, especially the manufacturing companies, because all these philosophies are coming from manufacturing setups, they are now moving towards more circularity. And on the basis of their success, most of the industries which are into service domain, like hospitals, hotels, they are also, opting the circularity. So it's a quest of more quality improvement, like you also mentioned. And when it comes to this question, continuous improvement actually objectively meant for reducing the wastage. So correctly said, yes. We will talk about circularity also, because sustainability can be achieved nowadays through circularity, usage of digital technologies. If we have time available, I will also showcase our research papers to you people, that how we can try to develop more a circularity model for economy like India, for emerging market nations like India. So I will also showcase them. So this was the first question, and continuous improvement is a.
So I just
need to ask one thing.
Yeah, please. Yeah, ma'am.
So you said why not flexibility, but the question is the main focus on any continuous improvement project should be the elimination of. So elimination of waste could be there. We could not, like you have given the example of Nerolac paint. So they have not eliminated flexibility. In fact, they have inculcated flexibility.
Exactly.
So as per the question, the answer should be waste.
Okay, as being an objective question, the answer will be waste. But yes, obviously, in the case of Nerolac, they actually showcase.
They have inculcated the flexibility. But here, the answer would be waste, because we are asking for the elimination.
Correct.
So I just wanted to add one more thing.
Yeah, sure.
Can this 3R, I mean, the 3R be used for this lean thinking also?
Yeah.
3R means recycle, reuse, and hello.
Yes. You please carry on.
Yeah. So what I say is that 3R philosophy can also be used for not elimination, but reducing waste.
Reduction of waste. Correct. So these things are coming all together, like Industry 4.0 on the one hand is actually changing the landscape of the industry. And parallelly, we have philosophies like lean system, lean with green philosophy. Companies are moving towards more SDG goals. So these things are happening all together. So as a learner, we should understand the simultaneity of these facts and how this is impacting the overall landscape of the companies, how it is changing the directions to the companies. So this is the intention today, actually. So with your permission, can I move to the next question, please?
Sure, sure.
Thank you. Right. So the answer is waste to this question. Second question is, in lean terms, what is the best description of waste? Since lean, as we learned, lean is more about, reduction of the waste, as we understood also. Now, in lean terms, what is the best description of the waste?
That is third
Waste
one.
is a part
Third
of,
one, sir.
Third one.
Third one.
Third one. Third one.
let me narrate questions, options at least. Waste is a part of a process, always inevitable. Waste is something you put in rubbish bin. Waste is a usage of the resources during the process, which is not recognized by the customer as adding value to the product or service they received. So Rekha ji, what could be your possible answer? What do you think?
जब इमरजेंसी है तब तो करूँ ना, हम और समय तो हाँ और क्या, अरे नहीं करते हैं सर, क्या आप सर अपनी इंसल्ट करा रहे हैं?
I request, moderators
कह
to
दोगे ना,
please
ये
mute
है
her.
मुंह पे मना कर जाते हैं, मुंह पे मना.
I request moderators to please mute Rekha ji. Yeah. May I request Rekha ji to please mute herself? Rekha ji.
वो आती तो है, ब्लैक सीट आती है, थोड़ा हाफ पोर्शन करके भी करो तो हो जाता है ना.
May I request moderators
तो
or
है
Rekha ji
पैसा,
to
लेकिन
please
कहाँ
mute
काम
herself?
करें. वो वाटर प्रूफ वाली आती तो है, जिससे वाटर वो करते हैं, वो लगाते हैं कुछ केमिकल डाल करके ना, लेकिन उनका भी भरोसा नहीं.
I believe she has, removed her headphones and we could hear her properly.
Yeah, Rekha ji, please.
हाँ.
सबसे बढ़िया वही है, टूटा ले आओ.
या सबसे सस्ता है वो
I think the control should be with you, sir.
Give some solution for waterproofing and how to reduce waste in that.
तीन वाली तो रुक जाती है.
So you can mute all, sir. Then
बताओ, इतना बड़ा पॉलिटेक्निक है, इसको तो अच्छा होना चाहिए ना सर. अब जैसे देहरादून का है, अच्छा लगता है थोड़ा ना.
sir, mute all.
All right, so mute all. You may, while muting all, do we still have the option to unmute individually?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
You can unmute us.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let us focus on the second question. So see, gradually, I'm just trying to recap what you already aware about. They are very simple terms, but all the terms are so much jumbled up that these days we are following the integrated approach. So before moving for the integrated approach or understanding how we can come up with the integrated outcome or strategies for deploying waste reduction or improving the performance and blah blah, we should understand the basic terminologies. That's why I put this questionnaire, this quiz. So the answer is, of course, is third option is the answer, where the waste is used for the resource during the process. Now, importantly, what is added value? What is added value? Anybody?
Added value is the customer which he perceives that the price versus, I mean, supposing somebody has paid rupees 10 for some item, but he perceives that the item is worth 15 rupees.
Mm-hmm.
So is in perception, this 5 rupees is the added value.
All right. So the
I also
I want to
may
tell
I
you one
also
thing.
Hello?
contribute?
yeah, please.
Hello.
Added value is when you are either moving material from one workstation to another workstation, means the material is moved further, so some value addition is there, or you are changing its form. Like you were having a piece of wood, now it has been converted into furniture, so the value has been added. And when it has been pegged, more value has been added. The moment you are adding value to the product, the cost part, the expenditure part is also increasing simultaneously. So that is what I am able to understand with the added value.
But in that case, just a minute, can I add?
Yes.
So in that case, the customer perceived value should be same for every customer, but it is not so.
It's not so. See, willingness to pay the extra bucks over the cost incurred to the manufacturer based on
Sir,
the,
is it,
you know,
sir, is it to adding, say that the usefulness of any of the product or services?
exactly. You are
Exactly.
paying, you know, crores of rupees for buying Ferrari, but while you go to Maruti showroom, you start negotiating, and the anatomy of both of the vehicles are same. They are running on 4-wheelers. They have a stepney. They have, you know, driver on the driver's seat on the right hand side, right? Almost every architecture is same. The space is also same. But when it comes to, you know, buying a Ferrari, you're willing to pay a huge amount of money.
So may I add
Because
something?
a lot of-
Sir, let me add one more point, sir.
So
Yes,
I'll-
yes.
Could you please, sir, see the added value in the sense, see, suppose the phones are there are a lot of smartphones, sir.
Exactly.
Because some
exactly. This is
people are
something-
very illiterate. The pointing, adding high-end mobile phones without any value or giving to your the customer, that is not an added value to the product. Suppose the people should know that, should know it how to operate that particular smartphone.
So,
Exactly.
sir, I'll just
Without
add
any
one
Added value is
adding
coming through the
to,
brand.
Yeah,
There are a lot of reasons behind added value, right? You're
Yeah,
willing
that's
to
the
pay
reasons are
because
behind.
of your brand consciousness,
yes,
because
yes.
probably the product is having a great feature, like
Yeah.
iPhone is having both.
Yeah.
So willingness to pay is extra bucks you're paying, right?
Okay. That also
And,
we should see the need of the guest.
Exactly.
Need
And
of the customer.
okay,
Where
okay.
it goes,
Got it, got it.
what's our target market? That's the important.
Got it, Professor.
Yes.
Got it.
so I
May I
Now,
also
want to
add one
small
thing?
point, sir.
Yes,
May I-
ma'am.
I've been waiting.
Please.
Yes,
ma'am,
yes.
please.
Just want to add to the added value is from the customer's perspective, it may be we can also relate it to the utility, and that utility can be the functional utility or it can be also psychological utility, as in the
Correct.
case of brand.
True. Yes. Now, when it comes to, you know, one is added value and second is value addition. So value addition is coming from the manufacturer, right?
Right.
Like that lady was telling, Professor Anubha was telling, right? She was talking about the value addition, and we were talking about added value, right? Anyways, now importantly, lean terms is basically is a subjective terms which is entirely talking about the waste reduction or waste as a resource. And theoretically, while we start talking about lean, you know, or do any research related to lean manufacturing or lean philosophy, we normally, you know, encounter the theory which is called a resource-based view theory and theory of constraint, right? We'll discuss about it. We'll discuss about the underlying thing. Otherwise, we will get more deviated. So the third question is open to all of you. The third question is lean techniques define the value from the perspective of who? That's why.
Customer.
But that's a customer, sir.
All right.
Customer.
So,
Customer.
all right.
Because
Why not- why not
basically,
the-
I can add something.
Yeah. Why
Because
not the managers?
every
Let me ask this question first.
every
Let me
product,
ask-
every
Like a
product.
spender who's the
just-
person who's spending, sir, and
No.
it is like when you buy something, it beautifies the experience. It has to add value to the person's life. That's
No,
why
the
person is who the customer.
the most important thing is every service or product we create is for the customer. So if it does not satisfy his requirement of need, so there is no, there is no purpose of any process of any product. So basically everything should focus to the customer's requirement and customer satisfaction.
All right. So as per you, the customer is at the center for any value creation is basically objective or aim to the customer. This is something your point is it, sir?
Yeah, because the thing
Okay,
originates.
got it.
If you look at the supply chain management. Yeah.
Got it, sir. Fairly well. So let me invite other people. Those are not answered the earlier two questions. Let me also invite them.
Can you have an option, sir, of all of the above?
Yeah, you may have more than one option, ma'am. Now answer this question, please. In your opinion, what should be the answer? Lean technique should be pertaining to more customers or to the system itself? I mean, to managers.
It should be to both. Customers land up getting value because of all these other fellows doing lean, or the manager, team members, the CEO, all of them do lean, hence the customers get value.
So it should hit to the all stakeholders. This is the point.
I feel that way, sir.
All right. Any more opinion on this?
But sir, ultimately, hello.
Yeah, please.
May I?
Yeah, ma'am,
Yeah.
sure.
So ultimately, whether the manager or say team member or CEO or say the whole company, each one of us are doing everything for customers only. I mean, customers
Right.
are always in a center.
So your
So
opinion is
finally,
somehow,
it's
on the,
yes.
yeah.
Customer.
You say customer should get the priority. Leanness is about the
Yes.
customers. This is something you want to establish. Okay.
Yes, so
lean
value,
manufacturing
the
is
perspective which we are seeing, that must be with reference to customers.
Okay. Right. Got it. Anyone else?
So
lean
I think
manufacturing is for the whole process.
Whole process. So process
For
incorporate
the
everybody.
customers. Customers is the other end, and lean means like all the processes has to be. We need to see that the number of employees of the machinery has been reduced. Ultimate goal is customers, but basically these employees and the manufacturing process has to be reduced. Whether
So
we
in your opinion, what should be the answer?
processes, all the processes is for all the processes.
It includes all the 4 options, right? Customer, managers, team,
Yeah, yes,
and
yes,
the
yes.
CEO. Okay, okay.
Yes.
Right. Let us see. Yes, sir.
so
Amit
may
ji,
I?
please. Yeah, ma'am, please.
So,
Please, ma'am.
from my point
Certainly,
of view, it would be the CEO, because
All
when
right.
we call about the lean is a thinking, is a process which is being applied to an organization as a whole. So when
All right.
it's been started from the top level, so
Hmm.
automatically the lean process and the application to the whole organization would be as per the leader. So it is
All
more
right.
about the leadership role. So in my point of view, it should be the CEO.
So lean is more about leadership because lean philosophy or lean thinking.
The flow which should be the
Okay,
leadership.
the flow should be from top. Okay, that's why from top to bottom. That's why you're saying that lean
Sir, I have one
techniques.
more add-on.
Okay. Yeah, please, please.
Solution, sir, is
Amit ji.
basically vary from each of the point of view, but yes, end value is goes to the customer.
Okay.
Everyone has a set of defined, things to carry forward in each process or stages. So
Okay.
if you ask for the CEO doesn't have the vision, to go ahead with all the processes, but he knows that I have initiated is followed by the manager, the team member. Then at the end, the core purpose is to go to customer.
Okay, so in your opinion, the answer is customer.
Yeah.
All right. Any more argument? Any more inputs on this?
So
Rohan?
why I was saying about customers, so I can reinforce it. So if you look this post-COVID scenario, so many organizations, they have gone off the radar. Why? Because they could not adapt to this lean techniques or say, and what happened is their products became so unaffordable that their processes became unviable. So that's why those companies, they had to stop their business. They have to wind up their business because they could not compete with other organizations which have adopted lean techniques or they have adopted to the change scenario. To basically, the customer is for. I mean, any organization's objective is to serve the customer.
True, true.
Sir, can I make a point?
Ms. Balu, tell us.
So majorly, the perspective is the organization as a whole. Although the customer is the target, it's about balancing and maintaining the process, production, time, and all of it in the organization whole. Although the intention is making best things for the customer, but it's the lean. I think the cultivation is for the organization.
All right, right. So your perspective is a customer, right? Fine. So Ms. Balu is saying the customer is the answer. Anyone else would like to add some value on?
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, Mukulji.
Yes, sir. I think it depends on which perspective we are seeing. If we see in the financial perspective, I think then answer should be CEO. But if we see in other perspective, non-financial, like customer satisfaction, or we will see employees satisfaction, then it will be other. So it depends on the perspective which we are seeing. So I think all of the answers are correct.
Sir, may I, sir?
Please, Jasu. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, you already mentioned about the Asian Paints and all, the product has diversified. Everything is a value for the customer. Only they depends on the value. The customer needs the value from the company, what they are going to receive. The receiver, the final end, everything we are for the customer. Everything, every cycle is running through the perspective of customer only. So I could say the right one. In my perspective, in my point of view, customer is the right one. Right.
Right. Before I,
May I say something?
just need to add one point to Ramola's point, Professor Ramola's point. Ramola ji, whatever operations we do, whatever outcome we generate as a service or the operation,
Yes, sir.
Service or the manufacturing operation,
Yes, sir.
our objective is always both. Economy is our objective, so that we can.
It depends on if we look at the customer perspective, he wants to have a lower cost, but get a good value for it. But
Yes.
if we talk about the CEO, sir, he will look into the profitability of the company.
See,
Not the-
every business, Ramola ji, just
Yes,
to
sir.
add, because a lot of people are here, few are
Yes.
actually at the silent, listeners, because wrong message nahi jana chahiye. So just
Okay,
to
sir.
add value to the point,
Okay,
see,
sir.
any commercial activity you are doing is
Yeah.
having a very, very proper objective is to generate wealth
Okay, sir.
for the shareholders, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So value creation for the business is to earn more money out of the operation or the
Yes.
product they are developing, right?
Yes, sir.
And who is consuming that product? The end consumer, the customer. The end customer
Yes,
is
sir.
consuming it. So the objective is clear that we are serving to the customer. We are manufacturing a product or delivering a service, and the end users, the end customer will use it. Consumer will consume it, and they will pay the amount which is being either negotiated or he's willing to pay.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Sir, may I say something?
Objective of a business remains the same, which is profit generation and to serve the need of the customers.
Yes, sir.
Right. Yeah, ma'am. Yeah. So Mukul ji, perspective यहाँ पे पैसा कमाना ही है, no doubt.
Yes,
Obviously, customer की need को ध्यान में रखते हुए पैसा कमाना है.
So
Yeah, ma'am.
I may I add something?
According to me, it should be customer, because the lean continuous improvement approach begins with a detailed understanding of what value the customer assigns to the products and services, right?
Exactly.
And the
So
ultimate
continuous
moral of the
improvement
story is,
continuous
ultimate
improvement
moral
is
of the story
yes,
is
yes.
if the
Rashmi ji,
customer is
just interrupting you.
Yeah,
The continuous improvement is basically coming into a loop, which is basically more focused upon focusing upon the requirement or updated requirement of the customer, because we are continuously improving our product so that we can meet out the demand, which is ever changing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's why the company keep on improvising their product, do differential or incremental innovations and all, right?
Yes.
Dr.
Yeah.
Joshi, may I add
please,
something?
sir. Yeah, sure.
Say we have been talking about this profit-making organization. Even in non-profit organization, the focus is customer.
Correct,
so there
sir.
also the lean technique, if we adopt, the value will be from the perspective of the customer only.
Exactly, like universities or any non-profit making enterprise, like your SRM group itself is a non-profit making business, non-profit making entity. I'm sorry. So it is basically here to serve the people of the nation, and the customers are the students. So the objective remains same. So let me rush to the answer now. The answer is, after taking a lot of opinions from you, your inputs, the answer is of course the customer. So lean techniques are basically focused on creating value, and the perspective is from the viewpoint of the customer. Let me rush to the next question quickly, because we have very, very calculated time in hand. Another question, let me read on your behalf. There is a big difference between problem fixing and problem solving. Fixing a problem, estimate the symptoms, not necessarily the root cause. There is a big difference between problem fixing and problem solving. Fixing a problem, estimate the symptoms, not necessarily the root cause.
True, sir.
All right, don't describe it. Let me take the inputs first, right? Anybody, please unmute yourself and be the part of the discussion. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. It's a true, sir, because of we need to go for the problem.
I will come to you. I will come to you. Let me collect
It's true. It's true.
It's true. Okay. So logically,
it's true, sir.
It's true. Balu said true. Okay. What else? Anybody?
True, sir. True.
Swati said true. Okay, right. Great.
True.
Anybody else? True. Okay. Okay. So let me invite you people. Those are not still they are mum. Please, unmute yourself and answer this question. The question is fixing a problem, estimate the symptoms, not necessarily the root cause.
Sir,
Symptoms के base पे आप problem को fix करते हैं. Root cause
Sir,
पे करते हैं.
it's actually true, because I think fixing is like a temporary solution, or while
Root causes?
it can be a permanent solution for the problem.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's right, because if we fix it, it means, say, if a broken thing is there, so we just fix it and just try to make it usable. But I mean, say if some breakdown is there in a machine, so we fix every time and run it again, there is a breakdown. So
and
if
knowing the fact that the replacement is there, we should replace the machine.
Yeah,
The
so
machine
that the solution is to replace it. So
Right.
basically, this is a true statement in that.
Right, like in your bathroom, some tap has been encountered some defect. Probably the tap, the line, the pipeline is now is almost 10 years old, and because of corrosion, the material of the pipeline, suppose is of iron or any alloy, is now required repairing, or it may require the replacement. So through repairing, you actually manage the show. So you're trying to fix the problem, not the permanent solution to it. So root cause,
like your tire, say it is getting punctured every time.
yes, I think it's a better example. Yes.
Yeah.
So fixing a puncture is basically fixing a problem. Instead of replacing the tire, we normally go for the short, less costly affair, less costly solution to that. Is it clear? So
Yes,
yeah.
sir, yes, sir. Even
Any more opinion on this? Anyone like to add some, inputs on this?
So I'm actually encountering, or I'm facing this practical issue on
Sure,
my
sure,
hat.
please.
Somebody is replacing, adding a light over there, because the actual problem is that something is being fuse ho gaya hai. But as just the room is dark, they are just fixing a tube light over here so that the problem is fixed, but it is not being solved.
It is not being solved. Yes. For meantime, it is being resolved, not solved. Right. So the answer should be 2. All right. So we need to understand one thing. What is root cause analysis now? So now root cause is what? Root cause has 2 sides. One is the outcome. Second is the inputs basically. So any root cause analysis will let you understand what is the effect out of any bottleneck or any kind of breakdown happened, either because of the method or because of the internal or external environment, may be caused by either of these resources, man, machine, or material. So because of any of these resources, if the method and an environment is being affected, the result will be a defect in the outcome. So root cause analysis is to understand, is like back front to back approach, where we try to understand that what has happened, what is the reason behind this particular effect, this defect which has happened. So man, machine, or material, whatever the reason is, we'll try to fix it, and fix in a manner that we can fix it for the longer run. There's a long range repairing, we must say, where we can get the solution to the problem instead of fixing it for the time being. Right, like this could be a better way to understand the root cause analysis, where we are actually come out with a wrong product or wrong shoes. Suppose a Lakhani kind of company which is coming up into wrong estimation of the average height or median height of the individuals, male people in India. So out of the survey they conducted, Lakhani is doing first time they're starting production, for example, is a hypothetical example, and they got to know that 9 is the average size of Indian. So now Indian males, suppose 9 is the average shoe size of the Indian males. So now based on a lot of inputs which are incorrect actually, especially in this case, the measurement is wrong actually, because you have the wrong measurement about the median value of the shoe length of the average Indian, the male Indian. You come out with the wrong products. जो आपने products बनाए हैं वो गलत बना दिए. So this is the reason actually happened. This is the outcome which is happened because of the wrong measurement. So any wrong size estimation leads to wrong outcome. Like for example, a farmer, because of the wrong estimations or wrong advised by the Krishi Kendra, he is cultivating a wrong farm crop, and the yield is less. So either the measurement by some advisor is wrong, either he used the wrong material, or he may use the wrong machine. Either the method is wrong, either the machine is wrong, or the material is wrong, which leads to the wrong product. So root cause analysis can be, अब इसको reverse कर लीजिए आप, तो आप देखेंगे कि अगर आप material rectify कर लीजिए, measurement rectify कर लेंगे, machine rectify कर लेंगे, तो the output will be improved. And that way you can, fix the problem for the longer run. So anything which is being caused because of the wrong estimation or wrong specification or wrong malfunctionality of the machine, it may result to a havoc. And root cause analysis can help you to understand where the things went wrong. I hope this is very clear actually, is cause and effect actually. I think, should we move for the next question now?
Because sometimes what happens is the cause is very simple, but we are looking at something very complicated. So I think this can help in that.
Yes, but cause could be anything, but they fall into either of these three categories. Either it is coming through material, measurement, or machine.
So this is like a fishbone diagram also. No?
Exactly. It's a fishbone diagram which reflects upon that the outcome or the outcome is, if the outcome is wrong, it has only happened because the input is wrong.
Right.
So that we can fix reversely, yes.
Exactly.
Now, the next question is the 5 W's to be considered during the root cause analysis. Option 1, option 2, option 3, or option 4?
Option 1.
First option.
Option 1. Okay. Why option 1?
Option 1.
Why option 1?
Because of
includes 5 W's of the major questions.
Okay. Anyone else?
This is the Japanese method of asking why W, the 5 W's.
W family. Okay.
So I think it is 5 Ys.
This comes from.
Who said 5 Ys? Who said 5 Ys?
Well, Dr. Sudhanshu, this is Manish here.
Yeah, Manishji, why 5 Ys? Please advise us.
I mean, it's one of the techniques that we use, which tells us that if you keep asking the same question, it helps you diving deeper into the problem and gets you, getting further as to what caused this, what caused that, and then we are able to reach to the root cause.
And if we revisit this diagram, this understanding about the root cause analysis, it's about why it happened, why the wrong estimation of the wrong number of foot length has been measured, why we have used the wrong machine, why we have opted for the wrong material, who was the supplier, why we opted for that supplier, why was the material was actually compromised in terms of quality. So yes, it is a philosophy, and this is the right way of doing the root cause analysis.
Dr.
So why
Sudhanshu,
family? Yeah, ma'am.
This originally comes from Robert Frost's poem.
Exactly.
On his serving men, only the H has been dropped out of this.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for adding. Very right. True. So the 5 W's are basically why, 5 Ys, right? Please correct yourself, please. So it is why. It's not who. This is the wrong answer. Why is the right answer. So question number 6. Which are the 4 important things you need to do as assess a process improvement opportunity? Now, what is process? Anybody? Process.
Yeah, process is converting the convertible resources into products. Say you convert resources into output.
Okay, is a method of converting, or transforming raw material into finish. Okay, is it, sir?
Yeah. That's
all right. Anybody else? What do you mean by the term process?
Sir, it is a series of actions in order to achieve something.
Series of actions, steps. Okay, right, good. Anybody else?
So like if we take an example of the higher education and we talk about process. So the process are the different departments which are actually helping the students to achieve that degree. For an example, we call it as, if we call the academic department, wherein they are taking care of the academic process. If we are talking about the student welfare department, wherein they are taking care of the student welfare process. So I think these are the small processes. Actually, it's the main purpose is to empower the students after 2 years of their.
But Swati, my question is,
Sir,
are they coming into? Let me ask question, Swati. Let me ask Swati a question. Swati,
Yes,
the
sir.
sequence. There must be a sequence of serving to the customer, to the students. No, we
Of course, sir.
Yeah. So
So-
enrollment department, counseling
So
first.
the
and
process are
enrollment-
the sequential processes.
Logical. Yes, logical sequence. Okay, great.
Logical.
It's a
Very right.
series of steps
Series of
from
steps.
the input to give the output. The
Yes.
series involved.
Used in the transformation. Yeah, correct. Very true, Baluji. Yes. Anybody
So
else?
one
Yeah, ma'am.
more thing which I would like to add, that okay, the process, the method, or say the logical sequence of say that the operations or activities to be done to receive the desirable output.
Correct.
Because many a
yeah,
times if process is not proper, you get the output, but it might not be desirable.
correct, correct. So see, ma'am, lean philosophy talks about clarity of thought initially. As I've said, your problem formulation
Yes.
or things should be clear, no? What you aim to. Very
Exactly.
right. So let me revisit you people. Let me again ask you, what are the options to be covered under question number 6? When it comes to 4 important things, you have to opt 4 out of 5 available, which can help you to assess a process improvement opportunity. What could be these, one by one? Swati, you may start. Yes, sir, please.
First is involve people closest to the process.
Okay. Okay.
So then validate the problem.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not telling in the order, but just I'm telling what 4 these things are. You want in the order, in which order they should be?
We'll discuss about it. अभी आप इसको बताइए. हाँ, सही चल
If
रहा
you
है.
would ask me, you first understand the impact, see what the byproducts are, and then
Okay.
find the root cause of it, and then you start designing a solution. So I think 3 most important is that,
All
and
right.
definitely validate how it happened.
Right. Okay. Anybody else?
No, first is identify the root cause.
Okay.
Then validate the problem.
Okay.
Start designing the solution. And then understand the impact.
But process doesn't, results into solution. Otherwise, क्या होता है कि लोग standardization करते ही नहीं. पहली बार जब production हुआ होगा तभी industrial standardization हो जाता है. So process improvement का purpose ही ये था कि solution को optimize किया जा सके. So in any case, start designing a solution answer नहीं है. इसको आप हटा दीजिए. अब आप बताइए 4 option है, उनका sequence क्या होगा?
So may I?
Yes, ma'am. Swati ma'am, बताइए.
So it would be identify the root cause, involve people closer to the process, understand the impact and validate the problem. Validate the problem and understand the impact.
Okay. Now, can you please repeat? Can you repeat your answer, please?
Yes, sir. It would
First
be
is?
identify the root cause,
Okay.
involve people closer to the process,
Okay.
understand the impact and validate the problem.
Okay.
No, I think it should be validate the problem and then understand the impact is last.
As per you, sir, the validation of the problem should come first, is it?
Yeah.
Then
it is identify the root cause.
Okay.
Then you involve the people closest to the process.
Okay.
And then understand the impact.
Okay. Now, let me ask you one by one. Let me ask Swati first. Why you opted for this sequence, which is here on the right hand side? I wrote down your answers in the sequence on the right hand side. And yeah, tell me.
So because whenever we try to look for a solution or whenever we try to solve something, we need to identify the problem first. Like what is the root cause of that particular problem? So that is the reason I have opted for the first thing, identify the root cause. When the root cause would be identified, then we can go for the multiple other options, like what would be the other processes. But the first one would be the identify the root cause.
Sorry, the question is assessing a process improvement opportunity. So if you're doing it for the first time, you are the first time company, you have come out with your own enterprise, suppose. So do we have the room to identify the root cause? Because nothing went wrong still. So वहाँ जरूरत पड़ेगी. Do you feel that वहाँ root cause की जरूरत पड़ेगी?
नहीं पड़ेगी.
नहीं पड़ेगी ना. So let us take his question now, his input now. Sir, आप बताइए. Yeah, please. स्वाति, अभी आप शांत रहिएगा. आप बताइए sir, please. Yes, sir. Over to you, please. Yeah, is he around?
Say for initiating any process for improvement, So we have to firstly say validate the problem, whether this is the problem which is required to be say addressed. So once we validate that problem, there may be so many of problems, which maybe we can list for say any process improvement. I mean, which the company may be facing, and we want to tackle that problem to assess the process improvement. So out of those, we have to validate the problem, which problem is actually causing, is the problem which is to be resolved. Now, once we...
Who is going to validate the problem?
The people closest to the process.
So they should come first instead of third?
Yeah.
Yeah, it should come first?
It should come first.
It should come first. This is second validation of the problem. Then afterwards?
Then we identify the root cause.
Then this will be the fourth.
Yeah.
Sir, may I say something, sir?
Yeah, Jesus, sir. Please.
First one, we have to validate the problem, sir. First one.
Okay, validate the problem. Okay.
Yes. Then positive, what is the root cause of the problem? Identify the root cause.
Okay.
And we need to involve the people to closest to the process. And finally, we can know the understanding.
No, understanding the impact will always be the last one. Yeah. But which come first? Validation of the problem or
validation of the problem.
Validation of problem. But who will validate? The question remains same. My question to Professor was, who is going to validate the problem? Machines?
No, that is in the process itself. Not men, not here.
People will validate, no?
First validate, then we need to involve the people to the close.
Who is validating the problem?
That is the line manager, process manager, or the team, the entire team of the organization.
So, Jesus sir, the people those are close to the process will come into picture initially, no?
Yes, sir. But first of all, if you not understand the problem, then how we can bring them together?
But they should come together initially, no? They should come into picture initially. Then only they can validate the problem. So the first thing which should come in the order is involvement of the problem which are close to the process. If some breakdown happened in the shop floor, right? So the people those are actually responsible for that particular shop production line will come into picture initially. Am I right, sir?
Yes, somebody has to report the problem.
Exactly. Somebody has to report the fault. So this is something, involve people closer to the process, which should come first. Then only you can validate the problem. This is actually, what is the degree of the problem? How this bottleneck happened, how this breakdown happened initially? What is the, degree of, fault rate? Or maybe the degree of problem one should understand. So validation is happened at the second level. First thing will be involve people closer to the process. Am I okay with this, sir? Are you?
I'm not clear about that one, sir. Because how do we bring the problem people to the close to the process in the initial stage itself? First of all, let them understand the process first. First, the problem, the root cause
validation. Okay. But who will do the validation? Who will do the validation?
That's also because
the floor manager can do it.
That's what I'm telling you.
Manager could do it.
Yes,
production
so floor
manager,
manager is what? He's a person closer to the process.
Yeah.
He's a person closer to the process.
But sir, until say that we are not going to validate the problem, then after we are going to involve the people that what is the thing.
That's
and
okay,
then,
ma'am.
Say that,
But the process, suppose the shop floor, the person in the shop floor, he identified there is a problem in the machine. So initially he should come in the picture, no? And he will inform other people who is seen superior or supervisor to him. He will inform this information to the supervisor. So the people, those are close to the process, come together and they identify there is a problem. They validate the problem, है ना? कि ये defect है या कुछ regular problem है, कुछ कल पुर्जे गिरे हैं, repairing हो सकती है. So the order will be
so
first.
It's going to be 1, 2, 4, and 5.
1, 2, 4, and 5. Okay, that's good.
That involve the people, validate the problem, identify the root cause, and then after see that what is the impact of it.
Correct. I think this is clear to everybody.
I would put it as involve people closest first.
Okay.
Second will be identify the root cause. third
Okay.
will be validate the problem and then start designing a solution. Understanding the impact will come later.
Yeah. Because I think your viewpoint is basically root cause can help you to understand the causes of the problem happen.
Yes. And then you validate your hypothesis, whether this was true or not.
Exactly. So, right.
So I
Let's
have
take
a
some,
question. In
yeah,
case
ma'am.
there's any pollution or if there's an impact or a hazard happen, you first understand the impact and only go ahead, right, sir?
Mhm. So your
No,
viewpoint is,
may I add, because firstly, the problem has to be reported. So that will be done by the people closest to the process who has encountered that problem. Now, once that problem is reported, somebody has to validate whether this is a problem or not. Okay. So, hello.
yeah.
So once that,
Yeah, got it. Balu, you like to add? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, batao.
Okay, but in a case of a haphazard event or if there's anything which has happened, you don't validate the problem, right? You have to like see what's next. So maybe this might not be suitable for extreme cases.
So what should be the sequence? Just tell this. I will come to you, Pankaj. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What should be the sequence? In your opinion, what should be the sequence?
So basically I'm an environmental engineer, sir. So if you would ask me, I would definitely talk about how you first, you understand the impact and then you involve people and then you start designing the solution and then identify what really happened, the root cause. So maybe the series might vary for different processes. I don't know, I might be wrong.
Let us talk about it. Yes. Yeah, because the processes for domain, they keep on changing, like being a environmentalist or a person who is more focused upon the environmental impact of any, production process. Probably the, steps could be different. We will take a better example sometime in our discussion, right? So that, we can validate your viewpoint also. So should I, with your permission, can I, yeah, sure, ma'am. Can I move ahead now? So these are the four important things. Starting design a solution is basically it's not the part of continuous improvement opportunity, and the rest of the points based on the processes we are talking, the industry we are working in, the order will be differ.
no, just a minute. I'll just come back. See, in construction, what we do is, say, once we complete the project. So what do we do is we evaluate the total design. I mean, what is whether the desired, what was intended has been achieved or not. So if there are some deficiencies, then we start from the designing designing stage itself.
Right. Correct. So we will talk about some, how the firms able to obtain the perpetuality in terms of knowledge management. I will take some different example where we'll use all these 4 steps and 5 steps rather, and we'll understand how the process improvement gradually, taken care by the companies and how they improve their quality in terms of, greater satisfaction to the customer needs. I have an example of Parasnath. So I will tell this example in the construction wala example. There will be a process for lean manufacturing in construction industry. I have a specific slide for that. I will take this example in that case, sir.
Okay, thank you so much.
So let me start my presentation today. We are here for understanding lean thinking, understanding the underlying principle and practices, and it will be a kind of a discussion into 3 folds. And the first thing we need to understand is the philosophy of lean thinking. So lean thinking is basically a kind of approach which is helping firms to primarily to reduce the waste, right? So that firstly we need to understand what is waste, right? Waste hota kya hai? What is waste? So I'm inviting you people to make this slide more interactive, and I wish to understand what is waste in your viewpoint. What do you mean by the term waste?
May I?
Yes, sir.
Say something.
Sure,
See, waste can be any undesired feature or undesired process or undesired value addition.
All right. So,
Hello?
yeah, ma'am.
Yeah. So waste, according to me, which is undesirable, even say that unwanted things, or some of the time which is excessive. I mean, if it's not needed and still it is there, then also it's a waste.
Correct.
More than needed, excessive. That is also we can say it's a wastage.
All
Or
right.
not adding the value, and if it is there, then also it's a waste.
All right. So any sort of waste is adding
It means
cost to
over
you.
inventory, madam. You're saying about over inventory. I mean,
She wanted to tell, yes,
piling
yes.
up of stocks. Yeah,
Piling
that's
of the stock. She intended to tell this only. Now,
Yeah, that's
any sort of waste which is of inventory nature or material nature will cost you more cost, more reordering, more holding cost, right? Is it? So the cost should be reduced.
Also an kind of waste. So over processing, over production. So this
Yes,
may lead into.
Yeah, this is something
Yeah.
she also said that
Yes.
over accessibility.
Sir, one meeting and for reworking, again, defective also comes up. The problem when we are coming out of the product, it is not meeting the standard. Suppose, that sometimes the Toyota company or any other company, car companies, they are calling their models due to the defective something fuel injection or something like that. That's also then they're going for rework again. That's also it's also a part of the way.
Correct.
Yeah.
No,
Let me take an example.
Another example can be supposing we design a car which I mean, maybe the horsepower can be say 20 horsepower or 30 horsepower, and instead of that, if we provide 40 horsepower, so that is also a waste, over capacity or.
Okay, fine. Let me take an example, then we'll rush to this discussion. I worked with Tata Teleservices for a year time before I joined for PhD program around 15 years back. So that time, most of the material that Tata was, they were into CDMA business that time, code division multiple access. It was a standard that time. Telecommunication companies were using two form of standards. One was CDMA and second was GSM. So wireless within local loop, which was a technology, it supports CDMA. So this company, Tata Teleservices, they never into manufacturing of the handsets, and they actually import handsets from China. So Chinese company usually, export material, export their handsets to India. This Indian company, Tata Teleservices, and Indian company import them from China. Now, what happened is, because there was the very clear standard are being decided that material, the handset should have this much of capacity, this much of frequency, receiving capability, the circuit must have this much of storage capacity, and blah blah. Beside to all these standards, there was always the cases that within the lot size we always have 2 to 5% of defect. So suppose we got 100 handsets in a big carton. So out of 100, there is always a chance that we will have up to 5 handsets. Those are defected one. And like Sir has said, he was taking an example about refurbished material, right? So refurbishing, we have refurbished center. That time we had refurbished center where the material which is being coming defected, which can be sent back, normally got repaired into refurbished centers, and which is a second party to Tata Teleservices, and they will sell at the lesser rate to the market, at the less price to the market. Now, it was a waste, but that waste is being retreated. I mean to say, any material which is basically is not ready to sell to the premium market, now being refurbished and sell to the market, which is basically not non-premium market basically category, where we are selling the product at the lesser price and still we are able to manage the revenue. So now importantly, waste management is required. Lean talks about the possible ways of waste reduction, maybe in the name of refurbishing the material, maybe in the case of recycling the material, maybe in the cases of reusage of the material when it comes to the excess of inventory or resources. So the situation is, if we simply see the companies which are into this sort of philosophy, they simply do production and they create wastage. Anything which is not serving to the customer, it's coming as a waste. Anything which is being rejected by the customer is considered to be the waste. Anything which is not being, which is being further, what do you call it, received from the customer in the name of the exchange offer or buyback offer, it is being considered as a waste to the company. So the pile of waste is now required to be retreated by the companies. And sometimes if you don't have that much of expertise or that much of processes, so that we can retreat the waste which is coming altogether from the customer through rejection, through fault, through maybe in transit defects, that should be, if we are not able to retreat them, that waste is basically become a problem for us. So any company which is not opting the lean philosophy is full of wastage basically, and create a lot of constraint for not only for its processes, not only as a company, but also for the longer sustainability of the business. So the companies which are initially not opting for the lean practices, now they are transforming themselves for leanness, and they co-opted the concept of lean manufacturing. So that lean thinking is now become a kind of industrial. Most of the companies are now late adapters, but yes, they gradually adopted the lean philosophy. So any form of waste which is coming through excessive inventory, which is coming through the rejection from the customer, which is coming through any form of buyback offers from the company to the customers, or maybe any form of refurbished material which is being rejected as a prime product and not able to hit to the premium market, is being refurbished and sell to the next market. It is again a waste for initially for the company. So current state for majority of companies in country like India, which are SMEs normally, MSMEs companies, are actually being hit hard by the inventory which they can't actually sell. And that sort of, unused or unproductive inventory is causing, waste to the companies. And it leads to a lot of losses to the company, because waste is having no commercial value, right? So now the philosophy is we should, create some added value, right? And that will actually give us margin, that will give us more value to the value from the viewpoint of the customer, and we are able to sell the product at the price we are estimating from the client or customer. So the whole philosophy is getting changed, right? So
may I add something?
Yeah, please.
Because in my opinion, this waste is a misnomer. Because we have to consider it within the battery limits of an organization. Now, for example, if we say that solid waste, so solid waste for household is a waste, but when we use it for production of energy, so it is no more a waste, it's a input to the organization. So the waste should be within the boundaries of an organization.
Yeah, similarly, yeah, very correct. Like industrial waste, household waste is comparatively lesser in quantity. But nowadays, most of the developed countries, they have, waste policies also, industrial waste policy. So these companies are actually governed by the regulator. Because of the institutional pressures, the companies are now, they are compelled to use the waste they have generated as the industrial waste and to convert them into energy, so that they can use that particular energy in the form of a fuel. Right. And a simple example to that form of energy is water treatment plants in any of the plant in India also, you can see. Although it's been recycled for a lot of, cleaning purposes, right? Irrigation or, in toilets also they can use.
Right.
So it's one of the form of waste recycling actually. So productively usage of the waste, so that if it is not having commercial value, at least it has the value so that it can be used by the company itself for the other or supplementary activities. Very right. So yes, sir.
Let me share one point, sir.
Yes, sir.
I believe that in a decade or 2 decades before, 3 decades before, in Bata, when they have that showroom of Bata, some kind of second sales was taking place. Second sale. It means slight variation in the product. They can sell it for the second product defective products. Little bit, some thread is gone or something like that. So is it kind of waste can be generated, sir? The waste because not the original price, they're selling it at the slightly reduced price or half of the price because of slight variation.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
this-
like
yeah.
Pepsi, anything which is, let me take an example. What Pepsi normally do is any bottle which is not up to the quality standards, they normally sell that particular bottle by unlabeling it to the upcountry market, like rural locations, and they get some margin out of it. So although in terms of quality that product is being rejected, but there is always an option to sell that product at the low price to the another market, which is basically any form of non-premium market actually. So substantial market, yeah.
Or does it
We have
causes-
always have a secondary market to take our products.
Does it causes loss to the company, sir, or is it they can make out that product cost?
It causes losses to the company, so that company will later on improvise the processes, and for such kind of products, such kind of material, because in the case of beverage industry, you can't simply unbottle the syrup and use it further, because it is a carbonated water inside.
Yeah.
So if you unpacked it and try to reuse it, it loses value, because the taste will be taste will gone. So in that case, they normally search out for the market which is not the premium market, so that at the less price they can sell it. Right? I witnessed such practice in Kanpur plant of Pepsi. They normally sell that product to the rural location at the low prices after unwrapping their labels from the bottles. So I have seen this practice. Right? So now importantly, firms are transiting from existing practice of maintaining the wastage into a practice where they are trying to minimize the wastage and getting into lean type of systems. So the objective of meeting the customer's need, which was the prime objective of lean philosophy, is able to be met out, and the firms are now engaged into a lot of supplementary practices, so that more flexible and more agile systems can be generated, and we can meet out the demands of the customers. Right? So let me rush to the next slide so that we can have more discussion on. So these are the possible 8 ways. Like we were talking about the wastage when it comes to doing the traditional way of production, and lean is there to eliminate all these possible forms of wastage. So the first way which is normally come during the production is defects. So there is no process which is 100% defect free. We always have a percentage of defects, right? 2 or 3% of the defects. Like I have said that in the case of manufacturing or importing material from China to India, we always had the chance of 3 to 5% of the defect rate. So when we do production, there is always a chance that there will be a percentage of defect material which is coming as a product produced, and that is a waste for the company, right? Because it is not actually hitting upon the requirement of the customer. We can't simply present the defected material to the customer. We had to actually grade that product and put it into bin, right? So this is one form of the waste which lean is committed to reduce, and we have to have 5 best practices for that. Like yesterday the orator has said, we have overproduction situation, like most of you, as Swati and other lady colleague has said. Overproduction happen when we have the excess of production over the desired demand from the market. That overproduction leads to non-sale, and we have to put it into inventory. And sometimes in the case of perishable material especially, the product remain unsold, or FMCG companies, the product remain unsold, and it will be a loss for you at the later end. So overproduction leads to be a lot of losses for us, right? Third thing is
not always, sir.
Not
See,
always. I'm coming to that also.
Yeah,
not always.
because sometimes, see, there was a case where they overproduced, but in the due course of time, the cost of the raw material increased.
Yes. Now let us take about. Sir, let me defend my point. Why overproduction could be a loss? We normally have 2 categories of products. Manufacturers normally manufacture 2 kinds of products. One is the functional products, which are normally non-techy products, like a matchbox. So any excessive production of matchboxes will definitely not hit you into losses. because the prices of a matchbox remain constant for at least next 10 years, like 1 rupee per matchbox, the mono carton of the matchbox. So overproduction, you can feed the market, or you may have the push, strategy to feed that product to the suppliers or maybe to the retailers, and they will take care of the inventory. Or if the product is taking less of the warehouse space, you can put the product into your own warehouse. So overproduction is not an issue in the case of functional products. But when it comes to the technical products, which are innovative products like mobile phones or maybe the apparels, then overproduction could be a problem for you, because it leads to, if you're putting the inventory for the longer end, then the season or that particular trend got expired, and you are not able to sell that product for the next season, because by the next season you will have a better design in place, like in mobile phones we have. So overproduction in the case of apparels, or maybe in the cases of mobile phones, could be an example where overproduction could be a definite loss for you, right? And in the perishable items, of course, like a baker's shop, he can't produce extra cakes or cookies and put into refrigerator for 10 days or 12 days, because his baker's product is more about the taste, and the taste is the customer's preference. So they want fresh cakes to be baked and sell to them. So
even fruit, vegetables,
or maybe the perishable items like fruit or milk or other products. Third form of waste could be the waiting waste, which is basically like pizza. Pizza is coming after the lead time you're expecting. So there is that's why the pizza delivery companies are now having 20 minutes ka offer. If they are delivering after 20 minutes, they will give the pizza free of cost. So waiting waste is basically any losses. Any company like Pizza Hut, for example, if you're delivering you the pizza after the optimum time they promised, after 20 minutes of lead time, that will be lost for them, because they have to deliver now that pizza free of cost to the customer. So there will be no revenue of any kind of mismatched demand supply lead time. So that will be a waiting time, leads to the loss to the company. So pizza company or such kind of a timely delivered mechanism could be a good example to quote here, that waiting could be a loss for the company. And lean actually help the driver to optimize in terms of the possible shortest path, or if there is a congestion in the traffic, or there may be a kind of lockdown situation. Companies are now using optimization using the drone nowadays. They are trying to optimize the lead time by using the drones, so that waiting loss can be optimized, can be lowered down.
In case of this,
technology could be a bridge for reducing the end of waiting loss. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so actually, especially this is very relevant in case of production lines, where if some bottleneck is there, so one machine is waiting, whereas another is processing. So in that case, I think waiting, this wastage is more pertinent.
Yes, sir. So that's why, sir, Industry 4.0 is actually helping in a lot of cases. So lean is coming along with the Industry 4.0 technologies these days. Cyber physical system is more about this. That you can reduce the waiting time by putting cyber physical architecture into your shop floor.
Right.
So, right. And next is unused talent. Like most of the people, they definitely most of the labor of the trained or the talent over here in India is called to be unused talent, is an intellectual inventory which is not being used. And like in government system, we normally face that people are very talented, but they are being deputed for the wrong duties and not for the duties of their choices. So this is all everywhere. It's not about private or government, but unused talent is also considered to be a inventory, which is unused inventory of humankind. And lean is basically about people. Lean is about people also. Lean is about processes. Lean is about customer also. So unused talent can be utilized if we have lean philosophy in place. So we'll take more examples, because we are focusing upon today we are focusing upon higher education as an caselet. So we'll discuss about transportation. Any pipeline inventory could be a loss for the company. So optimizing the logistics operation could be an answer to this problem. Like for example, let us take the example of pink food. So any or maybe perishable item like milk. So if because of traffic, because of congestion in the roadside, or maybe some other reasons, if the transportation is delayed, that will be lost for you. So waiting losses and the transportation waste time losses are almost of same results. It leads to losses to the company. Like I take an example of Pizza Hut or Domino's, where transportation, if you don't have the good transportation or fast transportation facility, you're not into good into logistic operation, it may incur losses for the company. Inventory is, it may result into overproduction or maybe underproduction. For example, during the lockdown, most of the companies are shut down, and they had lesser production because non-availability of human resource, non-availability of production hours. Government was not permitting companies to operate in the full swing. So the under inventory situation is also a loss for the company. So not always accessibility or excessive of inventory requires lean philosophy, but also in the case of less manufacturing or lower production or underproduction situation also requires leanness in the business, and leanness in the function. Beside motion could be unnecessary utilization of the resources, especially in the case of human resource. People are being deployed for unnecessary work. They are not being used for the purpose they are being hired. So unnecessary movement of the people, putting them into unproductive activities, may the loss to the business, may the loss to the firm also. And extra processing also, because any resource has its optimum efficiency, especially in the case of machine and the human resource. If we are using it extra in terms of above than its efficiency, it may lead to distortion of the quality, which is coming ideally when we are using the resource at the as per its efficiency level. So these are the possible.
May I add there in motion, So
yes,
the classical example can be, supposing some worker is to pick up something and place in a machine. Now, supposing that bin where he is to pick up the part and say load in the machine is say 6 feet away from him. So if we can place it nearer to him, say 2 feet, so that motion can be avoided, unnecessary motion can be avoided. So basically, it's about layout also, layout of the.
It's about layout also. Yes, that's why see, lean systems require a lot of it's not about only the philosophy. It's more about creating a layout as well. Rightly said by you. So it has incorporated a lot of things. It talks about layout. It talks about philosophy in place, training of the people. Creating a team, putting Lean Six Sigma together, right? Putting what do you call it? A discipline agile into place. So right. Scrum Master and the team of the whole Scrum Master, we require to have a lot of functionality and integration among them. Yeah. So rightly, in order to optimize the possible waste reduction, we should have a lot of things into place. Rightly said by you. Yeah, correct. So these are the possible great readings. You normally, if Lean is new to you, you can start reading these books, and let us take you to a very important argument that we normally get confused or overlap the functionality of Agile and Lean, and or we may not able to utilize the full strength of them as a combined methods. So let me take you for the interaction, all of you, and let me understand from you what is Agile methods as per your knowledge. So yeah, the house is open. Yeah.
Basically, Agile is to respond to a situation. How quickly you can respond to a situation.
All right. So flexibility is Agile as per you, is it? Anybody else? Yeah, ma'ams, you can now unmute yourself and answer the question. I was asking what is Agile system. Anybody? Swati?
Agile is
basically we divide a project into some smaller steps or smaller processes. In Agile.
In Agile, okay. Yeah. So what are the advantages of breaking the whole activities into a specific set of activities into different tasks. क्या purpose है इसका?
Probably उसको simplify करने के लिए and to we can ease down the complexities which we might face in any process. We can get the feedback also if the process becomes simpler.
Okay. Noted.
May I add one?
Agile is the
Yeah, Raviji, let Swati complete. Yeah,
Okay.
Swati.
The agile means like the agile methods, they are these practices which we follow.
Okay.
And why the practices are needed, as you asked it, because like when we are following up, like when we are doing something, like if we are going with lean, and lean has few practices.
Okay.
Lean has few tools, few practices to be followed. So if those practices are there, we can relate our problem with that practice. Okay, with this sort of problem, I need to follow this tool. I need to follow this thing. So I think that is why practices are needed, because हर चीज के लिए same thing cannot be applied. So we need practices for our specific problems to get these specific.
So you want to say we need two philosophies in place. One is agile and second is lean. Is it?
Nice, the agile methods are the part of lean only. Like for an example, we talk about the lean tools, like we have Kanban, we have 5S, we have Gensbetsu. So they are the methods of the lean. So it's not about that lean is not required. Agile methods, they are required. They increase the effectiveness and efficiency of a process.
ठीक है. Now over to you, sir. Please. आपको interrupt किया था मैंने. बताइए sir, please.
Sir, when you are breaking the activity into different small tasks, then there are two benefits from it. You can find out any such a task which is not required.
Correct.
So that you can reduce your wastage. And second is that you can standardize the different tasks. When you will eliminate the invaluable, you can say valueless tasks, and when you find that useful task only, then you can make it standardized.
Okay, all right. So taking his point, agile doesn't mean that we should do whatever we want to. We should not ask question to why it is happening. We should not, as a worker or as a part of the team, we are not allowed to ask questions, or we not, the system will definitely responsible to answer your questions. So no question asked to situation is not applicable in the case of agile systems. Then agile doesn't mean that we are not following any documentation, since it is basically flexibility. It doesn't mean that it don't follow any kind of documentation. Besides, one more important thing is, if you want to make your system agile, you always need to test it frequently. The more the system is tested, the more system will be called as an agile system, right? Like Formula 1 racing, we always have, after a specific round of the circuit, we always have, maintenance team, which is there to check your pressure of the vehicle, which is, whether the alignment is proper or not. So we gradually able to, within the circuit or within the track, we always have a kind of, system to support you. So agile requires continuous efforts, is a part of continuous improvement. That's why I put it agile in a place, right? Let me
validation also can be.
It's a part of, it leads to validation as well, because we keep on, upgrading our style of doing, activities. When it comes to COVID-19 situation, one of my friend is a bestseller these days, Jasprit Bindra. So he wrote one book on the immunization. And one thing I like in his book is actually he showcased several case studies on the firms which are struggling during the kind of pandemic situation, basically. And out of his survey he conducted while writing his book, he mentioned a state out of the implication of the survey he conducted, that post-COVID companies must learn to be less efficient and more resilient. Only agile firms will survive. Now, here comes two terms. One is called efficient and second is called resilient. Now, if you have less efficiency, if you are less efficient, you can survive. But if you are not resilient, if you have less resiliency, you will be vanished off. And only agile company can survive. What does it mean? What this statement means to you? I wish to ask you initially, then I will explain you.
Sir, can I come in? This is Yashoda.
Yeah, Yashoda ma'am, please tell.
Okay, so one of the examples is Big Basket, for instance. When the pandemic started, everything had shut down. Then when the government allowed these companies to open up, Big Basket borrowed labor from Uber and from McDonald's in order to be, doing their supply chains and deliveries. So
Correct.
in the other companies, they pivoted their models. All restaurants started complete delivery of food. Again, agile, open to change, getting feedback from
change. Very
users,
good.
getting feedback to users, minimize the complexity and move on.
Correct.
And I would
companies
like to add on
pivoting their
something,
model
sir.
is
Oh,
based.
sorry.
Yeah, Yashoda ji, anything would you like to add more on this? So
Big Basket, then all these other companies like DMart and what have you, they have learned their lessons and then figure out how to work. But the most amazing thing about supply chains is my Kirana fellow and the Dudwala. वो कभी बंद नहीं पड़े. Throughout, they were open. In the beginning, you can blame the government for, having a complete lockdown. But after a point, I found my local supermarket fellow, choti si dukaan hai, he had his supply chains perfectly in place. 7 o'clock to 12 o'clock open. After that, half shutter and restocking.
So what do you call him? Agile firm?
Agile.
बोलोगे उसका? Okay.
Agile, absolutely.
Fine.
Resilient.
And,
I'll
It's
say
a
resilient.
combination
I'll
of
say resilient.
agility. Resilient, agilent. Right. So it has both property actually. It is resilient also. It is agilent. Right.
Sir, I would like
Yeah,
to
ma'am,
add
please,
something.
please. No, please
There's
add.
this term called new corridors, which means you start as something, but then when you find there's a opportunity for something, you like extend that. So I think new corridors is something which was more open, like post May 2020.
Right. So there was an issue of survivability. I'll just refer, please refer to our research work that we published in 2020. We come out with a framework for companies how they can create their supply chain to be more survivable when it comes to post-COVID situation and amid COVID situation also. So one article we have wrote down, it has been published into a journal of Taylor and Francis, well cited, around 45 citation we got. But yes, we try to highlight that agility is basically required in a firm. And with the same, because one thing is common between us and Bindra is, he also highlighted that the company, those are able to survive post-COVID, required to be agile, but they also need to create some sort of, resilience in their supply chains. So what is resilience? I wish to ask.
Yeah, I'll say if you have a supply chain, there will be say suppliers, there will be, say on the upstream, there will be so many suppliers, say raw material supplier, component supplier, and then processor, and then down the stream will be wholesaler and all those things. So now any member of the chain, if it is not performing or something, which you cannot forecast, say just to say face some unwarranted or say unforeseeable situation, if you can survive that situation. So that is resilience, adapting to change scenario.
Yes.
So the capability of adapting to change scenario is a resilience.
So
And
resilience is to be developed, or it is inborn, inbuilt in the organization?
It has to be inbuilt.
It has to be inbuilt. But like the example doctor has
So
quoted.
it should be developed.
Yes,
Sorry
it can be
to
developed.
interrupt. It should be developed. It shouldn't be inbuilt.
So that lady, she was quoting an example, Dr. Saab. She was talking about the example of local Kirana stores. They probably their sales goes down because of the lesser labor available to them. They are not able to make the shipment to the entire market they call to be their market. Their efficiency may be lower down in terms of the inventory turnover they're able to make before COVID. But they have created a mechanism which they have learned during the COVID time, that otherwise they will have a survivability issue. They will be not able to survive if they will be like this, and with the low margins they can obtain the business. So they created a resilience mechanism that we as a shopkeeper will deliver product at your doorstep, and we will take care of all the all the formalities or social distancing norms that government has imposed to, right? So this is the resilience open to the change, that we have developed a mechanism of home delivery. Beside, we will have a kind of online payment system, so that will be hand-free delivery to the non-cash payment thing. This is something they co-opted actually. So resilience normally is being co-opted, और ये इनबॉर्न तब हो सकती है या इनबिल्ट तब हो सकती है जब बहुत थॉटफुल तरीके से आपने अपने सिस्टम को जनरेट किया हो। पर कोविड बिना बताए हुए आया था, तो मेजॉरिटी ऑफ फर्म्स जो इस समय रीसैलेंसी क्रिएट कर चुकी हैं, वो एक्चुअली इन्होंने को-ऑप्ट किया हुआ है। They are not inborn within.
No, that is right, but some components were already inbuilt, like
that should be the part of philosophy. Yes.
Yeah, because that neighborhood shops, they had the advantage that they were very close to your house.
Correct.
So, and they have dedicated customer also. So they need not to send someone 3 kilometers away or 4 kilometers away. So basically in their structure or their, I should say their in their layout, this was inbuilt.
Yeah, they just simply, they extend that feature when the time comes.
They simply modified it to adapt to the change scenario.
Right.
Sir, I'll add a point in that.
Yeah, Satish.
It's like when he's saying it inbuilt, instead of inbuilt, we say it more resilient only. Why? Because when we talk about the local kirana shop, pre and post-COVID or amid COVID times, when we talk about the pre-COVID times, many of the kirana shops, they were not taking orders on the WhatsApp and they were not even delivering at home. Even they were carrying the mobile phones wherein the WhatsApps were there, but they were not taking the orders on the WhatsApp. WhatsApp was there pre-COVID as well. But after COVID, they were taking the orders on WhatsApp and they were delivering at home. So it's not about the inbuilt, because WhatsApp was there before COVID as well, but they were not using it.
Dr. Sudhanshu, can I, since she mentioned WhatsApp, can I just make a quick mention? There are 3 types of WhatsApp. There's WhatsApp for personal, WhatsApp for business, and WhatsApp with API. Personal is what we use. WhatsApp for business is free for any business person to use, where you can create a gallery and sell and what have you. And WhatsApp with API is what large business companies like your DMart and Reliance use. So all these businesses have started using WhatsApp for creating opportunities for themselves. Thank you.
Very true. So they used the first version of the WhatsApp because the feature were initially,
Yeah, that's what we are normally using. Then second is WhatsApp for business, which is free for all businesses to use. So all these chota mota retailers, everybody, work from home ladies, doing home businesses, small entrepreneurs have started using WhatsApp for business. Everybody has pivoted their model online in their own kind of way.
So what do you call it? It's basically adaptive change management capability of the firms.
Survival of the fittest, sir.
It's adaptive.
Good old Charles Darwin.
So actually not just WhatsApp, even they have GPay right now, like even like Ola Autos, or not just Ola Autos, anyone.
Correct. So I request you to please read our paper also and cite it in your next writing.
Sir, can you put it in the link, please? Can you put it in the chat box? Thank you. It will be easy to access.
Yeah, sure. Let me do it right now. Give me a second time. Let me open the Google Scholar. It's available there. I will share the link and full paper also. Do we have a feature of putting full PDF file on this Zoom thing?
Yes, sir, we can put.
Yes, sir, we do have.
Okay.
We can.
So otherwise, you can share the link. We'll download the paper.
Sure. I will share.
So that will add to this thing also, no? So number of downloads and all that, so that will help in stats also.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
No, I think it's already crossed 50,000 views.
Yeah. So it's a desired thing, credibility has to be there,
I reached to the site. Just need to copy the material. Copy the. Yeah, it is there. It was published in International Journal of Logistic Research and Applications, B category journal by Taylor and Francis. So let me share the title with you. And the link also. I think it's a full read. You can, while you're going to the website, you can have the full read from the website directly. It is available full read. Full PDF is there. Full HTML version is there. So now, importantly, what I intended to tell you people is supply chain is basically becoming more agile and more responsive. And COVID has actually helped us to understand the whole situation. Like that lady was telling about, downstream activities by the retailers becoming more, customer ease. So the customer ease is there in terms of providing the services to the customers and making things through their, those steps. Now, importantly, a majority of companies, they actually decided that they will, enjoy the benefit of lean and agile philosophy. Somebody asked whether they are same methodology or they are different from each other. So before I rush for my answer, I wish to ask you people whether agile and lean enjoy the same methodology or they are different from each other. Are they same or they are different? Can you see my PPTs?
No.
No, sir.
Okay. Let me share it again also.